Hey everyone, welcome to my, I guess you could say mid-September, mid-October, early November um, monthly opinions on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book and franchise. And I am going to let you guys know that as of right now, this is the last monthly opinions I do at this current address. Of course, I am moving, as a lot of you know, as I told some of you, I am moving to Newman. And hopefully things will work out in a way that will allow me to continue. It should, if things work out fine. Excuse me, to continue doing my stuff over there. But anyway, with that said, I want to give you my monthly opinions, and let's start with the comic. As I said in my review, the Panic in the Sky arc is over. The overall Shattered World Crisis arc, which spanned 2 to 3 years, is over. And I have to say, overall, Shattered World Crisis, in my opinion, it was all right. But, this is something that didn't need to be dragged on for as long as it was. I mean, you know, you had multiple opportunities to end it. Ian did, and he never did. He never ended it. That's kind of a shocker in its own right. That he had an opportunity to end this sooner than later, but he never did. But anyway, I have to say that I guess you could say for a story that he did out of the remains or out of the lawsuit that took place between behind the scenes with Penders and Archie Comics and Sega, I'll give him credit. He did the best he could. And you could tell, honestly, that some of these stories that took place in this overall arc, if you will, this story, you could tell some of them were rushed. There's no doubt about that. You could tell some of them were rushed because I think, in my opinion, Ian basically thought up a lot of these ideas that he thought up were coming off on the fly, and he had to do what he had to do. So he had to come up with something to feel out an issue, and that's why some of these stories felt rushed. Now, like I said, he could have easily, a year ago or so, or whatever, ended this story a lot sooner. He could have, basically, here's the thing. If he was going to do a Unleashed adaptation throughout this, then he could have easily done it in a way that was shorter than what we got and been done with it before anybody would have known. Could have done that. But he didn't. He didn't do that, and we ended up getting a 2 to 3 year long story arc with sub-arcs, sub-miniseries arcs taking place within the main comic, as well as within universe. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The more recent one, Shattered, was Knuckles and Amy. That one tied into this. Spark of Life tied into it. A lot of the stories in universe and in the main comics, sub-arcs, mini-arcs, whatever, tied into this overall. And he could have easily just focused primarily on Unleashed itself. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, and I know some people don't like to hear it, when Ken Penders did Endgame, he showed that even at 4 issues, that kind of a comic can make an impact. And I also know some of you will point out, well, Brian, he also did a year-long story arc as well. Hey, I'm not denying he didn't do it, okay? I mean, when did he begin that anyway? Something? 453? Actually, it was issue, now that I think about it, it was actually issue 57. But think about it this way, because I know a lot of you are going to bring that up. That was the first World War II arc, right? That was the first one. But when did he come back? Let's see, 11 issues later. Less than a year, he came back. Less than a year later, not even a year. 57 to 68, basically 11 months, almost a year later. But what did they do in between all that? They had some sub-arcs as backup stories to let us know what was going on with the characters in that world. The On that side of things, well, Sonic and Tails were touring the world. The point is, Ken Penders, yeah, he did a long arc, but he only did it for 11 issues. Heck, Ian Flynn has even proven he can do short arcs. When he did, what was it, essentially 10 issues, 10, 11 issues of the Iron Dominion, a year's worth almost, about the same length. It's proven it can be done. It's proven that a story arc could be wrapped up within a year's time or less and still make a major impact. In my opinion, Ian Flynn wanted to make up for the fact, and I said this before and I'll say it again, he wanted to make up for the fact that he didn't get a chance to finish his original plans for a masterpiece, his original magnum opus plans for a masterpiece in the Mecha Sally arc. He wanted to make that a long arc. Behind the scenes issues threw that out the window. So what did he do? He saw Sonic Unleashed as a future story he was going to adapt, brought it forward to the forefront, adapted it, and said, you know what, I'm going to take it a step further, and thus, we got what we did. And he also probably realized, hey, I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to use this as the anchoring point to create the magnum opus, the masterpiece that I originally intended to do with Mecha Sally, but this time I'm going to use Sonic Unleashed as the catalyst, as the anchoring point for my story. And that's what he did, despite what people may say. Now, will some people agree that he has a right to have done that, to make up for what he didn't get to do? Oh yeah, some people will agree with it. There's no doubt. But it's more along the lines that you have an opportunity to do all this, but yet you could accomplish all of it within just 1 year span. But then again, I know some people will point out, well, Brian, he got interrupted by the freaking sequel, Worlds Unite. Yeah, I get that too. But here's the thing that I've always argued about the Worlds Unite deal, the Mega Man crossover. That is, they could have easily done what they're doing right now with freaking Sonic Next Level and Mega Drive. They could have made it its own little comic book series for the 12-issue run. That way, it wouldn't interrupt what's going on in the Mega Man comics. It wouldn't interrupt what's going on in Universe. It wouldn't interrupt what's going on in the main comic. It would have allowed those story arcs to still go on, or you would have a separate, entirely different story arc going on with this crossover event in a separate book series. The point is, in my opinion, Ian Flynn had all the opportunities to shorten this, but he didn't. And the reason he didn't was because of the fact that he wanted to create a magnum opus. Delays and moving offices and offices moving and stuff, printer delays aside, all that aside, truth is Ian Flynn wanted to create a magnum opus, a masterpiece that when the day comes that he finally decides to step down, he will be remembered by. Let's be honest, the first story people bring up when they ask, well, what was Ken Penders' best work on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book? The first thing they bring up is Endgame. The first thing they bring up to Ken Penders when they go talk to him at conventions, maybe get his autograph, do an interview with him, first thing they bring up is Endgame. Why? Because he, within 4 issues, made something memorable and people are talking about still to this day. That's what Ian Flynn wanted to accomplish, and I think he may have done that. But truth is, he could have done that even within a 4-issue span, 6-issue span, or even a year span. He didn't have to go 2 to 3 years. The Sonic Unleashed game itself, I haven't played all of it at all, but I've played some of it, but not all of it. I'm pretty sure it's not even that long. Seriously, when I read from 231 all the way to 247, that was 16 issues, right? 16 issues. Here's the thing. When I read in between there, okay, that took me literally a half hour to almost an hour, I believe, just to do that. Why? Because that's how long, time-wise, just reading that the story arc was. Okay? So you can imagine just reading essentially 16 months worth within 30 minutes to an hour is one thing. Okay, can you imagine when? Can you imagine? And that's less than over a year and a half, right? That's a year and 4 months. So can you imagine reading 2 to 3 years, nearly 3 years almost? Let's just put it that way: 3 years worth of story. Okay, because that's what it was. Can you imagine reading 3 years of story and how long that would take just to put all those comics down and read them, or read them on your mobile device or your computer? You realize how long that would take? Probably a couple of hours. The point is not everybody has, unless they're on a long trip, has that time on their hands to read that many issues. Yeah, I know a lot of people take their time, but not a lot of people have that time to read that many issues. More along the lines, even go out and read some of the universe arcs that tie into it. Again, I stick by what I say. I think Ian Flynn wanted to create a magnum opus, a masterpiece that people will be talking about when referring to his run with the comic, and that's why he did it. End of story. It wasn't to adapt Sonic Unleashed. That's one thing. It wasn't just to adapt that. It was to create his magnum opus that he never got a chance to do with the Mecha Sally arc, and everybody listening here knows that to be true. You know it. I know it. Ian Flynn knows it. Aaliyah Baker knows it. Tracy Yardlin knows it. Evan Stanley knows it. Everybody that's worked on that comic knows it. They know that this story arc could have ended a lot sooner, but the only reason it was dragged on is because Ian Flynn wanted to create his magnum opus, his masterpiece, his endgame, if you will. There's nothing wrong with that, but it would have been nice to let people know in advance, hey, this is going to be a very long story that I'm going to start writing, and Archie's going to start publishing. It's going to be very long, so I hope you're strapped in for the long haul. I mean, seriously, let's be honest. When you read 252, do you think that the prelude, the start of Countdown to Chaos, do you think that, and at the end of Countdown to Chaos, in the beginning of 257, do you think, in a sense, did you even imagine for a moment that was going to last, that the story arc that followed Countdown to Chaos was going to last 30 issues, was going to last 2.5 years to nearly 3, if you count freaking Countdown to Chaos as part of it? Countdown to Chaos is when it all freaking began. Sonic got infected by the Dark Gaia energy. You have thought for nearly 2.5 to 3 years it was going to last this long? Did you think that was going to happen? No. But yet it is happening. It has happened. And point is, not only has it happened, but it may happen again. Hopefully it won't be. Hopefully that won't be the case. But the thing is, Ian Flynn, I hope he's learned his lesson. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he got this out of his system so that we don't have to go through this again. I mean, I understand when a writer in a comic book company, or mostly a head writer for a comic book company's comics, like let's say Marvel, you got a head writer for Spider-Man, for the main Spider-Man books. You got a head writer for the Avengers, for Iron Man. I know a lot of people, a lot of those writers, or the majority of those writers, with the blessing of the publishers of the comic book company, like to go out and create these long-term story arcs that last months, if not among a year or a year and a half. I understand that because they want to do something epic. They want to grab people's attention. But not all comics are meant for that. Sonic could be meant for that, but not with a story arc like this. This is something that could have been wrapped up within 6 months to a year. That's the truth. That's just my opinion. As far as looking forward to what's going on, at least we know Genesis of a Hero is a side story, meant to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the franchise overall. I'm cool with that. And if that's something that's going to start some kind of trend that every now and then we get a story arc once every 4, 5, 8 months. I mean, this 25th anniversary story arc begins in November. So you're getting November, December, January, February, and then you'll probably get something regular for the next 4 to 6 months. So you're telling me that maybe every 6, maybe to 8 months, we turn back the clock again? I have no problem with that if they do it that way. So looking forward, I'm cool with the genesis of a hero deal. I understand they got to do something to celebrate the anniversary. I'm cool that maybe the trend that goes afterwards is they do this every once in a while. Like, they end up after a few issues of one story arc, they end up going back in time and doing showcasing a past event. I have no problem with that. I really don't. So hopefully, we won't though have to go through what we did just recently. As far as the universe arc goes, I think the chaotic thing looks good. I'm just curious as to what they got planned for Universe next. I know that I have a feeling we're going to get another Shadow arc. There's no doubt. We're probably going to get another Blaze arc and another Silver arc. But I would like to see, as I've mentioned before, arcs centered around Bunny, Sally, Bunny and Antoine, Sally and Sonic, if you want to do it that way, put them into one as well. Amy Rose, we need one that probably touches upon Amy Rose's past or something. I don't know. Do one to Cassidy and Clove. I'd like to see that. Dulcie and her team. Loop and the Wolfpack get to introduce us to new members of the Wolfpack. I'd like to see all this happen in universe. And now that Shadow World Crisis is over, it opens up the freaking door. So let's hope that happens. And speaking of story arcs, apparently Ian Flynn went to 4chan recently, or somebody under the Ian Flynn name, somebody impersonating him, I guess, who might be close to him, I don't know, is giving out information of what is being planned for the next year, for the next set of story arcs. And here's the thing with Ian Flynn on 4chan. Of all places, why would you go there, according to a lot of people, and announce what's coming or what you potentially have planned? If I'm Ian Flynn, I go to my Facebook or my Twitter account, or even my own website. I don't go to 4chan and say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I think, honestly, it's someone under the Ian Flynn persona, like someone close to the situation that Ian is a confidant, has as a confidant or a confidant, and this person probably spilled the beans of what he potentially plans to do as far as story arcs are concerned. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But, that's really all I have to say about that. But again, honestly, I kind of find it hard to fathom that Ian Flynn would go on a place like 4chan, nothing against 4chan, and make this announcement. It just kind of, I don't really buy he would do that. Now, as far as the games go, we are getting more information about Sonic Mania. I think there's even some beta testing going out there. I don't really know. But I will say this. I like the style of it. I like the fact that Sonic Mania, I've said this before and everybody else has said this, is a blend of traditional 16-bit side-scroll gaming. I love it. I like it the fact that it's a throwback to the old games. So hopefully we might get more like that in the future. And as far as Project Sonic 2017, we still don't know much about that, but there is a lot of people are strongly considering that the next time we see a trailer for it, there's a possibility we can end up seeing the Freedom Fighters come out in some kind of silhouette form, stepping out of the shadows, standing side by side with Sonic, Amy, Knuckles, and Tails. We can end up seeing that. And if that happens, I wouldn't be surprised. Because the tagline at the end of that teaser for Project Sonic 2017 is "Join the Resistance." What other Sonic characters do we know, game or non-gaming wise, do you associate with the word resistance? I'm just saying. One person said, hey, if you see another trailer, Sally stepping out of the shadows, then then that one person said, hey, give the credit up here. But the only problem is we don't know yet. But it seems like, according to some people, it's becoming a stronger possibility that might be the case. As far as the movie goes, we didn't get any more information at New York Comic Con, from what I understand. I'm assuming by next year we should get something like a teaser or a poster, at least, of what's to come with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which is supposedly supposed to get a PG-13 rating. So we'll have to wait and see. Other news going around, Sonic Boom Fire Ice right now is in stores. We know that. I think it's selling well. The next Sonic Boom game for Wii U is coming. I think that's going to be good. Sonic Boom Season 2, I think, is out already or is coming out on Cartoon Network. So that'll be interesting to see, especially with the format they're going with, where now they're going to do full-length episodes instead of, two separate 11-minute episodes within one episode. And I like the fact that we might get some multi-part stories as well. Ian Flynn and Evan Stanley writing for the series is a positive thing to me because they might give us something we wouldn't expect, like maybe the Freedom Fighters in Boomverse, maybe do a crossover or something like that. Will they show up, or will the Boom characters meet them? That'd be nice. So we'll just have to wait on that and see what happens. And then, of course, like I've talked about before, Sonic SatAM is back on the air. It is back on the air courtesy of Starz as of September of last month, September 5th. And now the entire series is on demand. Originally, only the first season was on demand. I pretty much had indicated that I think, after they do an initial run with the complete series, that you'll see season 2 pop up, and that's exactly what's happened. So yeah, the complete series of Sonic SatAM is on demand on Starz. You go to your Starz. Basically what you do is you go to your premium channels. You go to Starz. You go to the series. You click on Starz. You click on the series option, and then you click on Kids, and then you scroll down, and then you find Sonic the Hedgehog, and there you go. So it's nice to see that's going on. That's happening. And I love the fact that, as I've said before, Sonic SatAM being on a channel like Starz is a big deal. This is like a premium channel. This is one of the top tiered premium channels out there for this to be on. So overall, I'm happy to see Sonic SatAM back on the air, especially with Starz. And I love the fact that now on demand, you get the complete series. So that's all I really got to say. My monthly opinions, my mid-October to early November mid-monthly opinions, the last monthly opinions are going to take place at this current address. And really, that's all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think down below.